Hi everyone! Our session with the librarian today was a touch different than I was anticipating, so I'm hoping you'll utilize this video to streamline the process and be extra clear about my expectations going into your research question and your source collection assignment due this weekend. First and foremost, let's talk about narrowing your topic. Going into our class today, you should have narrowed your topic of interest to just one section of George Packer's The Valley. But before we're able to take that and find sources, we need to narrow our focus from really broad topics like immigration and political extremism or the climate crisis. And we need to take these really big topics and narrow it down to a little bit, an idea that's a little bit more specific. And there's a few ways to do this. First, you could take a specific quote that you wrote down in your evidence and interpretation note taker and kind of mangle that into a question. Obviously, it's a topic that's of interest to you. And so how can you take that quotation and convert it into a question that you can research? Another idea is just to go back to the article itself. I will always encourage you to go back to the article, go back to the text, reread it, because ultimately all of the ideas that you need to narrow your topic is right there. So for example, in discussing the heat in Phoenix alone, the article discusses subtopics like tax policies that encourage housing be built up instead of out. Wastewater recycling, solar powered shipping containers used as cooling centers, a shade campaign of trees and canopies and public arts on heavily walked streets, right? All of these things have to do with the heat in Phoenix. That's our big topic, and they are smaller subtopics that kind of fit underneath this umbrella. So again, you can always go back and read the article because I think that that is like you're mining for gold in that piece because I know that there's topics in there of interest. I want to introduce another alternative to you, and that is searching with an AI tool called Chatbot. No, I'm sorry, Copilot. Copilot is Microsoft's AI chatbot. And I chose Copilot because Maricopa Community Colleges has a license with Chatbot with Copilot. And so I will send you the instructions. If you log in with your Maricopa Community College's account, then you're able to access like the not free version, the subscription level version that typically an average person would have to pay for. But as a community college student in Maricopa, you get that for free. So let's kind of mess around with it a little bit. I was talking to a student today who would like to focus on homelessness in Arizona. And so let's plug that in and see what happens. If you choose to turn to AI, I ask that you follow this process in order for the chatbot to give you the most effective response. And so I would like you to say something along the lines of, I am a college student in a college critical reading and thinking class, being asked to research an issue in Arizona and eventually write a letter in advocacy of my beliefs, right? You tell the chatbot who you are, why you're there, what the end product is going to be. I would like to research homelessness. Can you help me narrow this topic? We click search. Absolutely, Katrina. And then it breaks down youth homelessness, homelessness and mental health. There's an affordable housing shortage in Phoenix, indigenous communities. We often criminalize those who are homeless, veterans who are homeless, and the impact of extreme heat. Again, all of these topics fit under that greater umbrella of homelessness in the valley. Now, let's say I really like the idea of looking at how extreme heat impacts homeless populations. And so I would tell the chatbot that. I like the idea of researching the impact of the extreme heat on the homeless population. Can you find some scholarly articles written on this topic? Bam. Great choice. It's going to list out a number of different options. Now, when you were searching in the library, you had like thousands of sources, thousands of hits. And with working with within Copilot, we've narrowed it down to just five. Five is pretty manageable. I feel good about five. And again, all of them have direct connection to Phoenix, homelessness, and the extreme heat that we experience here. Now, I'm sure you've heard so many times over that sometimes AI can give you hallucinations. Like if they don't know the answer, they'll just start making stuff up. And so what I ask that you do is you come in here and you can either access the article through something like this. But sometimes, see, it says log in via an institution. That's not the best route because you're already part of an institution called Phoenix College. And so what you'll come in here and do, if you want access to, let's say we really like that article, you'll copy the title into a search bar. I've already been here before, as you can see. And it will pop up with the article itself. And because you're a student at Phoenix College, you're able to get the PDF and it's fully available online. This article is not a hallucination, luckily. And so what we would do from there is you would download it, you'd save it to your computer. I would like put it in my downloads files. I'm gonna, just like I modeled in class, I'm gonna call it Spexarth underscore source one, and I'm gonna save it to my computer. Now, the other piece that I want to walk you through is uploading to Perusall. Now, when you look at Perusall, typically your screen auto sorts you to our assignments page, and that's awesome. Except for in this assignment, I need you to come over here and click the library. Your page will look different because you're not a teacher within the class, but you'll see a number of different folders. We found your first source, so you'll click into source one and your prompt will look different than mine, but ultimately you'll be able to upload that document that we just named Spexarth source one into this file. Just to be clear, do not call it my last name, call it your last name. But I know that you all are smarter than that. So your last name underscore and source number one. Now we found one source and I'd love it if you used another scholarly article so that two of them are from this like upper tier, super high quality sources. And so once you found two, let's broaden our search to include those from the popular press. And so what you can say next is something like, these are great. Now, could you give me some variation in source type? How about a few from the popular press? You'd search. And then it's going to give you some article options from, when we say the popular press, we're talking about like KTR News, KJZZ, that is those related to NPR or national sort of news. We have one from the USA Today. So let's just double check that none of these are, that these are legit. They're not hallucinations. Let's see. Niners Wire. See, this is where you would have to double check their legitimacy. It says that they're from the Arizona Republic though, so that feels solid. Occasionally, and this happened in my last search. Let's see if we can find an example. It gave me a list of sources that were of high quality, but they were completely, like, they were from high quality news sources, but when I clicked on them, it says source not found. Again, I'm not going to go through that process in this video because environmental health news, I would really question how like the legitimacy of this article, legitimacy of the source. I've never heard of it before. But I have heard of KTAR, so we can click into that. Again, I feel like I wasn't able to give you an example of a good hallucination, but if it, um, you click on a link and it says it's not found, it's probably because the chatbot isn't as smart as you are, and when it doesn't know what it's talking about, it makes stuff up. And so this is why humans are still really important, because, and I hope you always remember this, you are smarter than the chatbot. This is a tool to help us shortcut something like research and the research process, but you are still so much better at just being a human and conducting research, writing, fill in the blank, than this robot that lives in your computer. So, with that said, one more time, throughout this process, you're going to upload one source to each of these folders, 4 sources total. And I want to apologize specifically to my 8:30 class because I was a little bit overwhelmed and unsure of where I was going to take you, just because I was a little bit caught off guard by thing. It doesn't matter. 8:30, 10 o'clock, it doesn't matter when you come see me. I would like you to have 4 sources found and uploaded by Tuesday at 8 a.m. If you run into issues, I will make sure that I am available. Another alternative is to go to the library's website and make an appointment with a research coach. Oops, yep. And so you're able to do that. This is the library's homepage. Come down and click research coach. You're able to schedule an appointment, but there's also this chat service 24 hours a day. You're able to talk to a human, not just a robot, about your research. So again, moving target, I apologize. However, I would like you to have 4 sources by Tuesday at 8 a.m. We'll talk about it at the very beginning of class. And if you run into issues between now and then, please, please, please reach out. I'm here for you and I want you to be successful. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And as always, be safe, make good choices.